Caleb?
Caleb!
This is a something. That's as something as it gets. He said the wrong name.
Hello world, and welcome back to Gridiron Campbell, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ryan, and I'm joined by the entire collective, the Disciple, Brett Collson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nuwwarah. If you didn't catch the recap podcast, which you should every Sunday night, you might not know that the collective are only 3 points out of the cash in Circa Sports Millions. If every team is averaging like 2.2 points per week, that means we need to get, 2.8 to 3 points a week roughly for the rest of the season to get ITM and get real American dollars into our bank accounts. Coming off of 3 straight winning weeks, we will try to do the same here in week 14. Before we get into the football, be sure to subscribe to the Lines US YouTube page, ring that bell, like the video, comment below, tell us your favorite game this week. Podcast listeners out there, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcatcher of choice. DP,
how many points are we out of first place?
We have the smallest of sweats, I think, for first place. Literally, if we go 5-0 out, I think we can win. But that is obviously
just do that. That's what we're doing this for, right? We're not playing to cash. I don't care about cashing. I want to win.
Well, of course.
I'll take top season. 5. Pat statting. I got a question too. Where would we be at if we didn't blow our own dicks off with vetoes? I marked it. Don't worry.
I didn't want to bring those up. I mean, we'd have 2 additional points, right? So we'd be 1 point out of the money. Oops. But then Donnie saved us. But then Donnie saved us with one of his free vetoes. So you have to take one. The butterfly. It flaps its wings. Things happen. Who knows? You know? There's no way to tell where we'd be at. DP, you're in action this week. This is a very busy time for Donnie. Not only is he giving us picks, he's about to blast in some poker tournaments. You failed last week. And then, as we noted in the fake NFT free roll, where nobody had a sweat. He FTs and makes a streamed final table. But now you're back in action. Our money backing you. What are you going to do, buddy? We need you to crush it at the win.
These tournaments on fire.
These tournaments look like they're going to be huge.
Day 1A got 1,200 entries, so I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
Can't wait. It's going to be good, man.
Just a quick FT.
Mo needs to get on a plane.
Come on, Mo.
No.
No. I'll never, man.
That was awesome.
It was like God.
You guys ruined it. You guys ruined it. The guy hadn't played poker.
He was out of poker.
A year.
For those of you that don't know, I don't even know if we told this. Mo was like completely out of poker. Hadn't played a hand. There were cobwebs in his poker brain. And then we all went to Buffalo. Donnie and I were playing some poker. And then Mo just snapped back into it. Just 4-tabling PLO. All the way back into poker.
Brett said if I used any of the money from the raise I got on MTTs, I was fired.
I feel like you need to email HR about that. Seems like something that's not against not allowed.
Subscribe
you can't
to
hold
the
you
Lines,
hostage like that.
The Lines US HR page. Ring that bell. The reason why I'm delaying talking about some football is this might not be good for the content, but there's a lot of agreeing this week. We're not going to be at each other's throats. Nobody has a lone wolf in their top 5. Nobody has a split game. I think there's one split game in somebody's top 5. And we'll kick off right there. Philly at New York. The Eagles are 6.5 point favorites in the contest. I'm seeing full 7s in real life off of the opener of 6.5. And Mo's got the biggest opinion on this game, and it is on the traveling Eagles, who are laying the wood in this spot. Mo, take it away with Philly in the spot.
Philly is way better than the Giants, and I thought this line should probably be 7.5.
Donnie Cap.
Yeah, this is a Donnie Cap. I cap this over 7. The market's pushing it that way. It's already 7 at influential offshores with the juice on Philly's side. And then I'm looking at some of these defensive tendencies for the Giants. So they blitz more than anybody. So I looked into how Jalen Hurts has done against the blitz. He's done very well. Okay. So he is a still very, very productive quarterback against the blitz. And this is still a disaster of injuries on this Giants defense with probably their best corner, Adoree Jackson, maybe not playing. Oh, definitely not playing, it looks like. And then Leonard Williams banged up. He is their best player. I just think the Giants, I was fine with them last week facing a plodding offense with a bad quarterback. That's not a plodding offense coming in here. I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts guy, but he's definitely not afraid to push it downfield. I don't know how they're going to cover these receivers. I don't see the Giants being able to keep up with pounding the rock. Especially you were talking about, Rich, Philly's been doing a little better stopping the run. And even last week against Washington, which is an elite defense against the run, they still were trying, and it's just not working. I mean, Saquon had like 60 yards. Just hasn't been working lately. I know the offensive line, I was kind of hopeful, but they just didn't really get much done.
Since bringing in Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh and making sure that they continue to be fat guys, the Eagles are 6th in defensive EPA against the run. Bring in some fat guys, let them stuff the middle. I'm on the G's here, and I have the highest opinion on New York. And honestly, this is a classic collective cap. The only reason why I click the Giants is that it's the razor sharp side. Because you look at this game, there is nothing that is going to point you towards taking the New York Giants. They are horrific in the trenches, 29 in offensive adjusted line yards, 28th on defense, in a game that is forecasted to be rainy, ugly, muddy. Take out Leo Williams, their best player. This is an ugly affair for the Giants. I have no reason as to why they would be competitive in this game other than it's pro football, it's rule of NFC East, and you're going to squint, and this game is going to be closer than it should be. You're doing a lot of nodding there, Brett.
Yeah, aren't people going to click Eagles here? A lot of people.
Are they, though?
That's what I was wondering.
Said the Giants were more popular.
I literally clicked the Eagles because it said that people were clicking the Giants.
Well, then I don't know. I clicked the Giants as a blocker because I don't want the Eagles on our card.
Well, there's no worry because there's a ton of consensus this week, so none of the muddied split game lone wolves will affect anything. Let's move to another divisional tilt, this one in the AFC North between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are traveling to Cincy, who are 5.5-point favorites in the contest. Again, I'm seeing 6s in real life, so a little bit higher numbers in available markets. This one had a look ahead of 3.5 and open 4.5, and we talked on the recap pod how we thought this number should be higher based off of Deshaun Watson's play on Sunday. And while nobody has a very strong opinion on this game, Brett, you have the highest opinion on the home favorite here. You were fading him last week, not knowing what he could be, and then you laid 2 eyes on a guy that definitely has not played pro football in 2 years, and you're ready to fade him again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of conviction in this game, but it's a tough cap because if Deshaun plays like he did last week, this should be probably north of 7. But if we get good Deshaun this week, it should be probably south of 3. That's a pretty huge...
probably be north of 10.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was awful. So, and we only have that 1 game sample out of the last 2 years to work from. So I don't feel comfortable really picking a side here. I just think, just based on what we saw from Deshaun last week, you have to take the Bengals here, south of 6. He was, oh my God, he was putrid. So In negative script,
against
I have
the Texans too. Against the Texans of all teams, he was
so bad. Yeah, in negative script here, it's a tough spot for Deshaun if he's playing from behind, and he's playing that bad. So yeah, that's why I clicked Bengals.
Mo has the Browns as his absolute last pick. DP, you clicked the Browns after saying it should be a touchdown, so I'm assuming this is 100% leverage.
Yeah, leverage, and I guess I just talked myself into the fact that maybe Deshaun can look a little bit better after he has a little bit longer practice, has some film on tape, etc. So yeah, mostly leverage, and then also kind of just praying that Deshaun gets a little bit better. But I don't really care about this game overall.
All right, let's try to get to some games that we might care about. Let's head on over to the Lone Wolves. They've been biting some kneecaps of late. And in the most talked about game on this slate, I would say, from gambling Twitter, even from sports Twitter, when the Vikings only opened as 1-point favorites on the road at Detroit, people raised their eyebrows. When all of the steam came in on those Detroit Lions and pushed this number to -2.5, people started, as the Joker said in The Dark Knight, losing their minds. Jeffrey Benson's Twitter account has been flooded with people telling him how to bookmake. It's just been incredible content this week. And DP, you are with the steam. You are taking the Lions -2.5. Talk about it.
I don't have too much to say. I didn't want to click on either side in this game.
Rule of Brett. Want to fade both teams.
And I ultimately decided on the drive home today from work, I waited pretty long to pick this side, and I said, you know what? I'm not clicking the effing Vikings. I'm just not doing it. I'm doing it out of spite. I don't care. I hate both of these teams. I certainly do not want to lay points with the Lions. I get it. But I said, you know what? I'm going to back the market, and I'm going to say screw you to the fraudulent Vikings. That's what I decided, okay?
The Vikings were Brett's very last pick. The Vikings were my second to last pick, which means Mo, with the Vikings as your third to last pick.
I thought they were my second to last pick, too.
No, third to last. You have to defend the Minnesota. It's just gone too far. This movement, it's too much.
It has to be, right? I mean, I'm just like, I have the Vikings ahead of the Lions on my power rankings by several spots, okay? How can the Lions be -2.5? This is crazy. I mean, I kind of think it's crazy, but then I'm like, they do kind of match up well here. I mean, Jared Goff is atrocious under pressure, but dude, the Vikings don't have a good pass rush, despite that on paper being the best part of this defense. I don't know how the Lions are getting stops, because this was the worst defense in the league for multiple months. I don't trust it, and especially when I see Jeff Okudah. Didn't he do a pretty good job on Jefferson last time? I feel like he did. And yeah, if they don't have him, if they don't have DBs to cover Jefferson, I don't know. This should be a high-scoring game with a lot of variance. I do think the Vikings, don't they still have just like more talent than the Lions? Like, aren't they just a more talented team? So I don't know. I know that the market loves the Lions. I know the market hates the Vikings, but I do kind of think this has gone too far.
Well, the Lions have gotten a little bit better, but it was against the sleepy Bills, who were evacuated from Buffalo and sent to Detroit and had to live there in that, to steal Donnie's way of describing Philadelphia, that hole of a city for a weak market.
Hey, Detroit's an up-and-coming place. Come on, it's coming back.
Trevor Lawrence is whatever. He's okay, and the Jaguars' offense is not great. The Giants, okay, they got some stops against this Giants' offense where something Bellinger is WR1. The Packers, who, I mean, what the hell is this Packers offense? So the Lions have been getting right against some real fraudulent teams, whereas this Vikings passing attack, when Kirk Cousins is kept clean, is not fraudulent. It might not be this juggernaut that people look at a record and think it is, but it's really, really talented. And I think we've just gone a little bit too far with the market disrespecting the Vikings, and I think it might be a good buy spot off of a game where everybody kind of thinks they should have lost against my Jets, where the Jets go 1 of 6 in the red zone. The Vikings are dealing with a little bit of mud butt in their camp right now. There's a couple teams that have some flu outbreaks, CJ Ham, Danielle Hunter, and Harrison Smith amongst those that are dealing with the flu, but that's something that's not going to worry me. Give them some IV. They'll be ready to go by Sunday.
What do we think the contest is going to do with this one then?
I think we're going to see once again both sides in a Vikings game get support.
Yep.
We saw it last week. The Jets ended up having some leverage, but both games were in the 900. One was 980, the other was 1080, right? So I think both sides will be pushing 1,000, and especially in a week where there's only 13 games on the slate, and that 13th game, of course, is TNF, which nobody really piles onto.
Everyone wants to have an opinion on this game, except us, apparently. Everyone's talking
wants
about
to have
this.
an opinion on the Vikings.
Yeah, that's right.
They either love the Vikings or they hate the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes even the people who pretend like they love the Vikings might not love them as much as they think, right, Brett?
I don't know.
Way to stay diplomatic. We'll keep it with whose Lone Wolf was this? DP, and he has one more way down his card. It's Jacksonville at Tennessee, and DP took Mike Vrabel, laying the 3.5 at home against another division rivalry here, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a look ahead of 4. Open 3.5, has stayed at 3.5. The Titans were dealing with some injuries here, DP, but you're selling this Jags team. Are you just done with them?
Yeah, but I'm mostly... I kind of feel like, I think we talked about it in regards to Brett recently, where I feel like I have no idea what to do any single week with the Titans. I bet on them, they suck. I go against them, they look like world beaters and score 35 points. So I said, you know what, the hell with it, I'm going to back them this week. I mean, it's my 3-pointer. I really have no idea what to do with this game. The Jaguars could play really well and move the ball down the field like we've seen them in the past, or we could get a horrible game out of Trevor Lawrence and they just stink and, Derrick Henry goes off for a bazillion yards. I don't know. So ultimately, I just kind of went with, you know what? I don't know what to do. So I guess I'll just take the team that I have no idea and can never get right. Let's just flip a coin and go with it.
Well, it's time for the pod to get a little bit spicy because there are 2 members of the collective that do have the Jaguars in their top 5. And it's Mo and myself. Mo, this injury report, I know that you're the injury report master, is fascinating because the Titans have a group of players that if they miss the game, it's just huge for this Tennessee team. Treylon Burks, very doubtful, I think, to play in this game coming off of that concussion, especially the way that the NFL is treating the concussion protocol. But then more importantly on the defense, both Danico Autry and Jeffrey Simmons. Simmons, concerning because it was a limited and then a DNP on Thursday. You never want to see that regress to a DNP. And then Autry just hasn't practiced at all this week. On the other side is Trevor Lawrence with this toe injury where he is quite optimistic, yet he hasn't practiced yet as well, Mo. But I think reading the tea leaves, we're on the same page here. I'm a lot more concerned about these Titans injuries than Jacksonville.
Yeah, by quite a bit. Lawrence says he's going to be ready to go, so I'm just believing him. And the market definitely thinks he's going to be ready to go because even when
this would be off the board. This would be off the board at a minimum if they didn't.
He was in a walking boot, announced in a walking boot, Twitter. These are the sorts of things where the market instantly overreacts if it's meaningful. And nothing even moved when that was maybe a half point, and then it just moved back to where it was before. So I'm not worried about Lawrence. I believe him when he says he's going to play. And then, like you said, look at these Titans injuries. Treylon Burks might be rule of Rashad Bateman. Shouldn't move the needle, but does because the receiving core is so unbelievably bad that it matters when he's out. He's been making plays the last few weeks down the field, which is what this offense needs because it's so ground bound. And then, you highlighted a couple, and I just want to throw out another name, a name that I didn't know until last week, a name that I still didn't know until just now reading this. I only saw his name on his jersey because we saw the back of his jersey a lot in that Eagles game because Dude, the Eagles threw at this guy something Avery like 15 times in that game. I see that now that I'm seeing he is a rookie undrafted free agent, and he was starting at corner for the Titans last week. And let me tell you, the Eagles treated him like he was a rookie undrafted free agent starting for the Titans. Okay, so the Jags have decent receivers. I mean, if they come after this guy, and this guy's, by the way, sorry, I buried the lead here. He's on concussion, DNP. How bad is that guy's backup? Okay.
Rule of how bad is his backup? That's a modalism.
I don't know what the Titans are going to be running out here in their secondary, and if they at least had their pass rushers, maybe it wouldn't matter. I mean, dude, are we positive that the Titans are better than the Jags? Like, I know that sounds insane, but I mean, we can't be.
They have a worse net EPA per play. They have a worse net yards per play. So I don't think it would be shocking if the Jacksonville Jaguars are better than the Titans.
Say this every week, though. We know the Titans suck.
Jesse Pinkman, how long can they keep getting away with this?
But did you watch it last week,
yes.
Brett?
Yeah.
They were torn apart.
Yeah.
Like a bad football team. Come on, Doug Peterson. Come on, Trevor Lawrence. Come on, doctor who's going to pump
so that was another
Trevor
thing
Lawrence
I wanted to say.
With a horse trank in his foot so he doesn't feel anything.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to say is we know how to attack this Titans defense. And dude, I trust Doug Peterson to throw the ball when the ball needs to be thrown.
Yeah. Brett's been quiet, so let's get to his lone wolf. Carolina traveling to Seattle. And once again, when the world is on Geno, especially when Geno and the Hawks... I should give these guys their due respect. And the Panthers as well. When the Hawks are laying points, Brett refuses to do it, even when, if there was a buy opportunity, it would be right now. Look ahead of 7, opener of 6, 4.5 in real life, 3.5 in the contest. So Circa predicting even more movement in favor of people buying something Sam Darnold. And the Carolina Panthers.
I initially had this way up on my card because I thought we would have leverage on this game. I think people might just blast the Seahawks in this spot, but I'm not going to do it. We're in pretty good position right now. I'm not going to put a pick in my top 5 just for leverage. But
this Carolina Brett.
I know,
we're all getting better.
I'm growing.
Rule of no stubborn. ODB's looking at us like we're 4 grown children.
I just saw
right
ODB at the win, and he's going to be so happy.
But I do like the Panthers in the spot too, though. This defense they've got some dogs on this defense, and they are. I think they're criminally underrated. And it looks like Brian Burns is going to play this week. I think Carolina can keep this within a field goal often enough to make this a good side, even if the line is moving against the Panthers in this spot. I just don't trust this Hawks team laying north of a field goal right now. I just don't with this defense, and I think Sam is a huge upgrade over whatever the Panthers were throwing out there before. Give me the Panthers.
I love this at the look ahead. I was circling this. Seahawks, wretched defense. Kenny Walker gets hurt. I was like, all right, they're going to open this probably south of a touchdown now that there's these injuries. Once you start to bake in the rest advantage from the Panthers coming off the bye, there might be something here. And then this line just keeps coming down and down and down to a point where, just like the Vikings, I just think it went too far. And ultimately, I had to click it in coin flip territory. Mo, you're nodding.
Yeah, I saw that look ahead, and I was looking at that. I could not even remember that being the line. I was like, was that really the line? I
was like, the Panthers, just write it in. Don't throw out the pencil. Grab an ink pen because the Panthers are going to be on the card.
It was too high, I think, for sure. But I kind of think 3.5 is too low. I mean, dude, this line is telling us that the Seahawks are barely better than the Panthers. Like, barely. Like,
yeah.
Neutral field, you could basically flip a coin. That's crazy, right?
CenturyLink probably gets a half point extra, plus the travel from East Coast all the way to Seattle. So, yeah, this is saying the Hawks are like a point better than the Panthers, which is kind of crazy.
This is crazy, isn't it? I just can't get behind that. I mean, Geno's still dealing, dude. I mean, he was looking good last week. This is rule of if you have coach's numbers. You going to throw the ball, or are you going to plunge into the line like you did against the Bucks?
With whoever these Seahawks, I mean, people are spilling over themselves to throw fab at just random guys.
That was another thing, right? I was looking at that, and I was like, what if Kenneth Walker, my fantasy app on ESPN is telling me he's playing. So this might be a moot point, but if he doesn't play, what if the Seahawks accidentally play correctly and just throw the ball a bunch?
Trust the worldwide leader.
Capping for Mike Clay. DP, I knew I was going to get somebody with that. DP, you were the highest. We're talking all this love about Gino and them boys. Gino, who said, while someone asked him about his career as a backup, he said, and I'm not going to get it exactly correct, that it would be a dream for someone to have been through his troubled times, which is, it's such a self-aware thing to say. DP, you too like the Hawks in the spot.
Yeah, this one bounced around my card. It's my, 5-pointer? I initially saw the line and I was like, this seems way too short. I have to be missing something. But I don't know. I didn't find much that I thought I missed. Then I thought maybe it's just, people buying into the Panthers and Sam Darnold against the Seattle defense that hasn't looked good. I think the Seahawks are going to be pretty popular. So I had to move it down my card. And I think people are just going to see this line and kind of had the thoughts that I initially had, which is, wait, the Seahawks are only -3.5 against the Panthers and it's in Seattle? What is this? I did one of these, is this game in London? What's going on here type of thing. So I can imagine people are going to think the same sort of thing in this contest and just slam the Seahawks. So, hopefully it doesn't get on the card. I don't think it will if I'm the highest on it. So, but I do ultimately think, they're just a better side that's going to be able to perform better. What is it? Who is it that says it? Rich, that you got to back the better passing offense? Is that your
passing
thing?
Offense?
Yeah.
I think it's a new shirt.
Passing offense. Passing offense. That's right. So I think the Seahawks for sure have the better passing offense here. So that's the side I'm going with.
Let's go to a game where there's a team that certainly has a better passing offense, and it's Mo's Lone Wolf. His beloved Kansas City Chiefs travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. Look ahead of 7, opens 8, creeps up to 8.5. It's 9.5 in Circa, and despite all of that, Mo is laying the absolute wood with Mahomes and them boys. Brett is disgusted, Mo.
Who gets to go first, me or Brett?
Well, it's your Lone Wolf, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought you were teeing Brett up to be disgusted at me. Okay, so Courtland Sutton injury, I think pretty big on a team that just has basically no weapons here. And
QB3 is WR2.
I thought this was a fair line, so my cap is basically I think the Chiefs are going to be pretty locked in here. I don't always trust them as a big favorite, but that was amazing. That if you ever see a play that you think is point shaving, that's got to be it. That has to be it.
You got to describe to the people. This is an audio medium.
Yeah,
what just happened?
Derek Carr just lofted the ball into the middle of 3 DBs, and I do mean lofted. Sorry, at least maybe some linebackers. Everyone's in on the act over there. That was amazing. But yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to be really locked in coming off that loss, knowing they can't afford to slip up again. And I don't know if Denver is going to feel that way. So that's basically my tiebreaker in a spot where I thought the line was pretty fair. And I guess the other thing I would say is I know that Denver, in theory, has the defense that it can slow down the Chiefs because they're just so good at stopping the pass. But, dude, I've watched every Chiefs game this year, and I haven't seen anybody remotely slow down this passing game, really.
Titans.
So,
Bengals? Literally 6 days ago? 5 days ago?
7 yards per attempt. I mean, it was fine. That's their worst game.
Oh, no, it was the Colts. It was the Colts earlier in the year. That game tilted the hell out of you.
Well, that was a loom. I'm playing again. That was Sky Moore started his brigade of muffing punts in that game. Card-carrying member, Sky Moore. Brett, Mo is besmirching the absolute professional pride legion that is the Denver Broncos defense. 9.5. This is divisional opponent. This is so disrespectful, Brett.
I'm just going to keep betting the Broncos every week because the Martin has...
It's working.
Dude, yeah, it is working.
It's working.
But yet the market's not adjusted. I mean, they lost to the Panthers by 10 a couple weeks ago, so they didn't cover that game. But like it is
lost by 20.
Yeah, they look pretty bad that game. But like the market's completely written this team off, despite owning one of the top 3 or 4 defenses in the NFL. And yeah, Russ stinks, and this offense as a whole is miserable. But they play low-scoring games week after week. They're staring in the face of a 9.5 point spread. I'm going to click them every single time. And like you said, if there's a defense that could slow down Mahomes, this is it. This Broncos defense. So maybe we get the sleepy Chiefs here. And the Broncos, I don't know, all season they've shown the ability to hit on the occasional splash play, but they're so bad in the red zone that they just can't.
And then kick a field goal.
Yeah. So like maybe they start punching some of these in. Maybe some positive regression headed their way. I think the Broncos are just a good bet week after week. And here we are again.
DP
Isn't
is nodding.
this their Super Bowl?
He too has it in his top 5.
Broncos Super Bowl? What else do they have to play for? Shutting down Mahomes and this offense at home, 9.5 point dogs. Come on.
Well, I hope
you talk about professional pride. They have the bulletins all over the freaking locker room.
I hope Russ isn't throwing the Super Bowl party. Somebody else has to.
No. Russ will throw the party and no one will show up. Like, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Something hints.
No, they're going to invite him and tell him the wrong address. He's going to be like,
send him out to the 9th hole or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh. By the way, if the Chiefs if the Chiefs cover this number, if this is the game where the Broncos defense gives in and says 3-2-1 Cancun, Nathaniel Hackett cannot be the coach of this team on Monday morning. He probably shouldn't be the coach right now, but if the Chiefs cover, he cannot be the coach on Monday morning.
I'll tell you that if the Chiefs cover, the Broncos only scored 3 points. That's what happened. Nobody scores more than 17 points against the Broncos.
This is facts. All right, Lone Wolves. Mo's got his hometown chefs. DP has the Lions and Titans. And Brett has the Panthers. Strap in. Fingers crossed. Time for another winning card.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Nobody did better than 3-2 last week. That was Brett and DP. Mo and I went 2-3, so it's easy for me this week because we're going in alphabetical order, which means we start with Bert Minotti, the God, who has another divisional game, taking a dog here, a backup quarterback, all of the boxes being checked for Minotti. Who do we got?
Listen, I get it, betting market. I get it, Donnie. Lamar Jackson isn't playing, and we have to adjust for that, but still. This is John Harbaugh as an underdog in a division game against a mistake-prone rookie quarterback. Baltimore.
Why are you looking at me, man? Ask Rich what my number 1 pick is.
You're the market.
You're the market.
But yes. You did snipe Donnie's number 1 pick. And Mo. Once again, Mo touts a game on the other show. Beat the opening closing lines. And comes on here and doesn't put it in his top 5. I did that on purpose. That was on purpose. And doesn't put it in his top 5. It's in everybody's top 5, but the guy who doubted it. Consensus pick. Continue on, Brett.
Don't the Ravens have the best quarterback in this game?
Wow.
Is that crazy to say?
Isn't Huntley pretty much just as good as Lamar Jackson?
Lamar
at least Lamar right now?
So I know Mo tried to talk around this by saying that he played a bunch of tough defenses last year, but something Huntley stinks. He's a negative EPA per drop back. This guy stinks.
So what?
And he's the type of stinky quarterback where it's just all dump offs and crap. So, which actually works in our favor in this game. Again, I love the Ravens in this spot because we're looking at a total of 37 and a slugfest in the AFC North. So we want dump-offs and crap from the quarterback of the Ravens. But, Mo, I will not take this revisionist history that Caleb Huntley is a good quarterback.
Caleb?
Caleb Huntley.
Who's Caleb Huntley?
This is
Oh,
awesome.
my God.
This is a something. That's as something as it gets. He said the wrong name. But isn't this one going to be popular? I guess that's what was kind of stopping me here. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are going to like the Ravens here. The steam's coming in. It's already 1.5, I think, in some spots. This was an idiotic line. Ravens +3 was one of the most idiotic lines of the year. +2.5 is still a dumb line. Okay. Yeah, he did play a bunch of tough defenses.
Didn't it move 6 points?
He did.
I mean, what in the world is happening?
Look ahead. Look ahead. 4.5.
Worth 7.5 points. That
Not the way Lamar has been playing this year. No shot.
Plus, Lamar was already playing hurt. So, like, 7 points is insane.
Something Todd Hundley at quarterback.
Look who the Steelers have been playing. They're playing the most bum schedule imaginable. Every week. This is what the Dolphins were doing. The Steelers are playing absolutely nobody. I know they keep covering every week, but no. They played one team with a pulse, and the Bengals were up 10 in the fourth.
Something Brett Hundley.
I mean, I'm taking the money bet line. I don't care.
Oh, wow.
We don't even need the points.
Well, yeah.
Where's my sounder? Here we go. As money falls.
I moved it down because I thought there might be more leverage on some of these other games.
This is going to be Giants, formerly Rachel's or formerly football team, Kami Sweat all over again, where every possession is going to matter so much because there's going to be no points scored in this game. What a brutal game to sweat. All right, we move to Donnie, who had his top pick sniped by Brett. He had his second pick sniped by the collective. So we moved down to his third pick, which was my second pick. So I get sniped. It was Mo's first pick. So he gets sniped. I can't believe we're doing it. Buying him off a win. Buying him off of that win.
You can scarcely call that a win.
In that fashion.
The GOAT.
The coin has landed.
Did it again.
On Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, this line is ridiculous.
What's
this guy's first name that's playing quarterback? Caleb Purdy? I don't know his first name. Okay, whatever. I mean,
his brother plays for Nebraska and his name is Chubba. That enough should be reason to fade this guy.
He's going to come in and play against this Bucs defense. Not happening. Isn't Bosa's hurt with a hamstring? Well, so what's that mean? I mean, this just feels like this is a money bet line again. I mean, I don't like. What is this? I honestly thought they had the sign wrong in front of the team. I was like, this seems crazy to me.
Brett, you're screwing up your face. Look at the total in this game.
I know.
37. Every point in this game is going to matter. You've got two good defenses, two offenses that are hamstrung by their awful quarterbacks, but at least one awful quarterback has been put in the situation 1,000 times, and the quarterback, the coin always comes up with his name. We watched something B. Huntley shred I did that on purpose. The Dolphins defense, which is horrendous. And we know historically that sometimes these backup quarterbacks come in and then they're frisky. And then an NFL defense prepares for them and their tendencies for a week, and they look awful.
I mean, I know that we will tell you on this podcast that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the greatest quarterback, but this offense just works with him. Okay? You're not going to throw this guy in there and it's just going to work. Like, it's just not going to happen. Okay? I don't care, especially against the Bucs defense. Not happening.
Brett, talk about your trepidations.
I've watched this Bucs offense the last few weeks. That's my trepidation. They can't move the football. The last 2 minutes of the game, that's it. We've seen it how many times this year? And I'm not sure it matters who the 49ers play quarterback. I mean, I'm the biggest Jimmy G stan, but let's be real. Like, it's Shanahan. Like, it hasn't really mattered who they plug in at quarterback. They get the job done.
Wait a second, though. It hasn't mattered in yards. It matters in wins and losses.
Sure.
It's mattered.
Sure.
Well, not only do they need to win, which they have never done, really, but they need to win by 4. And don't we agree with the total? Nobody. Who is moving the ball in this game? This game, race to 20 for sure, right? I mean, I think the total's right.
What's the contest doing with this game?
These points are going to matter so much.
Aren't people going to fade Purdy?
I hope this is just low ownership both sides. I mean, we are not atypical in that I think that finally people are realizing how bad Brady is, and everybody watched that game. Twitter melted down when the Bucs orchestrated that insane comeback, despite Todd Bowles punting twice in spots where it's a crime to send your punter out, and they win the game. The gambling community, I mean, look what the look ahead was. Look where they opened it with something. Look where it's sitting with something Purdy. There is
that shocked me. It shocked me.
There's no respect for the Bucs right now. So I'm not afraid of people lining up to fade something Purdy.
But there's also no respect for what Jimmy Garoppolo is to this offense. I'm sorry. Purdy is not Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't care how much we can crap on Jimmy G. Caleb Purdy, get out of here with this. Seriously.
I don't think I'm with Donnie. I don't think people properly grasp the talent level of your average 7th round rookie quarterback. Okay? And it's like you said, Rich. These guys can come in out of the blue. Defense didn't scout them. Defense has never scouted them. They probably never heard of this guy. They probably didn't watch 2 seconds of tape on this guy.
Yeah, not even. Not even one play they probably saw of this guy. But this whole week, they were watching stuff of him in college. They watched every snap last week against the Dolphins. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw like a Jake Luton performance from something Huntley, even with Shanahan and all these weapons. Something Luton.
We've got so many stories of backup quarterbacks.
Did I call him Huntley? That was a mistake.
Yeah. Listen, I clicked Bucs, and I hope you guys are right because I have Bucs futures, but this one makes me a little nervous.
Well, if that didn't make you nervous.
Oh, neat.
We moved to Big D, where if Mo didn't serve up the stinkiest cheese of the year last week, he went to I don't even know if it's legal to serve the 100-year age cheddar, because I think it's just molded. I don't think it's FDA approved. I don't think the government would allow you to click Houston plus 17.5.
I did click Houston. I didn't think this was going to be happening because this was my number 3 pick. But why is Houston giving this many points against Dallas? Against a Dallas team that was... I think this is people getting caught up in, okay, Dallas can blow people out. They just won by 30. Dude, there was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. It was a 2-point game. And then the Colts completely collapsed. 40-yard runs. They quit. Whatever. That was a 2-point game for 3 quarters. And it wasn't a 2-point game because, Dallas was up and then, Colts came back. No, it was back and forth. Close game. Dallas is not, I don't trust them to run away from anybody. And Houston is getting a shot in the arm. Not only are they getting a way better player at quarterback, but this is going to motivate the other players, okay? They knew how bad Kyle Allen was. They knew he couldn't get a yard, especially after the first game. They come in, they put him back in the second game. There's no way those players were so checked out. I mean, they had to be. I would be too if my coach was putting the worst quarterback on the team in the game. I don't even know who the third string is. He's got to be better than Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen can't have a job. Whoever said he was below threshold a few weeks ago, I said, maybe. Okay, he's below threshold by a lot. Okay. Davis Mills isn't that bad. Like, he's bad, but he's
it was David.
He's like bad, but needs to have a job bad. Kyle Allen belongs in the XFL. Okay. So there's going to be a pro quarterback. I know I'm worried about the receivers, but I mean, whatever, dude. We've seen these Texans team move the ball. Like, they were right there scoring points against the Eagles. They weren't that awful when they had David Mills. I mean, they were awful, but not this level of awful. Okay. So I'm just counting on a professional effort from them, and Cowboys being overrated right now. I have the Cowboys third in my power ranking. They're a really great team, okay? But they shouldn't be minus 17.5 here.
14 on the look ahead, open 16.5. It's 18 right now. At a very
hopefully that keeps
market.
Everyone off it.
No Nico Collins, no Brandon Cooks. But at least these guys are professional players, right? Like Chris Moore and Philip Dorsett are actually veteran professional players. They're not just random 6th round guys that have never done it before. Like, I trust them to go out and be pro football players. And isn't this just the sleepiest spot for Dallas? Short road trip, looking past the Texans. Big divisional games coming up in the next couple of weeks. Get your guys healthy. Mike McCarthy plunging.
Vanilla
Lovie
playbook.
Smith.
That's what I was. We're going to see the vanilla playbook this week.
Lovie Smith also is a bit of adult, so he's not going to be overly aggressive and put the Texans in like blowout spots. Like, he's going to punt in spots where we like traditionally might not want him to punt, but it's actually going to like shorten the game, I should say. Fewer plays, a lot of run plays. This is gross, but it's pro football. 17.5 in pro football. Who's got the most concern?
Me.
Here?
Oh, no, not me.
Me.
What do you got, Donnie?
I mean, nothing. I mean, the concern is just that there is the potential that Dallas can blow people out. Like, that is obviously the concern. But I mean, come on. This feels like Dallas is going to get up 14 points and just chill. Cruise control city.
When does Cooper Rush get in? Brett, you were excited. This was your number 2 pick. That's why you were elated. I want to talk Texans.
Yeah, I said last week that I don't trust this Cowboys team to lay huge numbers with Dak. And then they ran up 54 points on the Colts with like 30 of that coming in the fourth. That was a fake blowout, and everyone watched it. But I think the mindset going into this one is a little bit different, right? It's not in prime time. This is the worst team in the NFL. Everyone knows that. Just get out of there healthy with a win with that vanilla playbook. Seriously, like what is the motivation in blowing the doors off this team? There is none.
I will be petrified if this game is close at halftime.
Yeah, I guess that is
because I think Dallas will regroup and say, "The hell with this team, let's go." But if Dallas just comes out and goes up 17-0 in the first quarter, you're going to see the third stringers. It's going to be great.
All right, I had all my picks sniped. My first pick sniped. My second pick sniped. Texans were my 4th pick, so thankfully I could at least sneak my 3rd one in here, which is another consensus pick, and I just won't allow it. I will not allow someone to make the New England Patriots, quarterbacked by Mac Jones, a road favorite in football. I know I said last week that the line is plural. Don't lay points with bad teams. This is kind of points. It's greater than 1.5. Don't lay points with bad teams. I mean, Arizona, who wants to click this team? 32% of the tickets are on the Cardinals. But coming off the bye, Cliff coaching for a job, maybe? A passing offense that I do trust because it has weapons. DeAndre Mudbutt, not too concerned about that. I think the Cardinals will be able to throw the ball. I don't think New England will be able to throw the ball because they've proven that they can't do that. And I think that we can get a win here from a team that I hate in the Arizona Cardinals. You guys all picked this. Like I said, it was a consensus pick, but not as much conviction of me as me. It bubbled Brett's card. It bubbled DP's card. And it was a couple spots from bubbling Mo's card. So, DP, I'll go to you. You've been tuned in. You've been listening all week. WEEI nonstop in your ears. What's going on in Patriot Land?
I mean, this Patriots team is severely overrated. The defense is overrated, and the Cardinals' offense can move the ball against them. I don't think the Patriots have really played anyone good.
Kyler's an idiot, but he's no Sam Ehlinger.
Yeah, and he's got some weapons that he can throw to and move the ball. And then how am I supposed to trust the Patriots offense? I feel like Mac Jones is ready to quit. Like, he's just over it. And then honestly, I had this one. I think I had 2 spots lower. And then I looked at Rich's graphic that, when it's a home dog, we just print money. And I said, you know what? It's going up higher on the card. That's what's happening.
I didn't even think about that. Trends.
Yeah, let's go.
Our home dogs are 75%. So this is like an auto winner. Lock it in. Brett, are the blinders off?
Yes. I don't understand why the Patriots are favored here. I don't get it. Like it's Belichick against Cliff, weird. But it's Pat's D against a mobile quarterback. Like we know Belichick's track record against that QB type. So I thought this should just be a pick. So I'll take the free line value.
Mo, put a pin on it. Anything else to add?
Yeah, just a big thing for me here was definitely the Arizona offense. Kyler Murray really did show last week he's ready to turn on the Jets, I think now. I think he's sick of getting just, not producing basically this year. So like last week, he really looked like he wanted to run and he ran a bunch. Or sorry, that was 2 weeks ago. They had a bye. It was against the Chargers. He was really getting out there. He ran for 56 yards, I think 7 carries. So I think if he's willing to run, that's going to be big here. Because we know what the Patriots want to do. They want to play man. They play, I think it was like 43% man. They're number 2 in the NFL. Only the Giants playing more man, I believe. So, that's going to open up some rushing lanes for him. And then also, dude, I don't know if these Arizona receivers are guys you want to be trying to man up. Hopkins and Marquise, I think it's kind of big that he's back. So they have multiple weapons now. And I think this offense is quite a bit more potent now. So this was the one that basically the biggest thing for me here, though, was, I wasn't that excited about this. And then I saw very, very heavy ticket count in favor of the Patriots.
There are 2 more consensus picks remaining.
Get pretty good leverage.
Only one of them will make the card. Only one of them is the collective pick. And one of them on trend is a home dog.
The collective chooses the Los Angeles Chargers.
I see nodding. I see. Is that content on your face, Donnie? Yeah. This is a dumb line. This is stupid. Someone needs to fix it. Why did this move off the look ahead? I thought the look ahead was fair. I thought 1 was fair. I think it should be closer to pick, but I think 1 is fair. The Dolphins have earned that 1 through great coaching, great scheme. Chargers have not earned very much respect this year, fumbling all over themselves, especially when they don't have Mike Williams, which, once again, can we expect him to go? It looks like he's practicing, but with Mike Williams, you never know. With Mike Williams, you never know.
He's going to get hurt in the first drive.
Another
practice. He's in
first quarter exit from your guy.
Warm-ups.
But are people not paying attention to how bad this Dolphins defense is? 23rd in pass defense, DVOA, 18th in pass defense, EPA. Something Brock Purdy, I'll get it right, was moving the ball against the Dolphins. Brett, you were nodding vigorously. You like Herbert and boys in the spot.
Yeah, I've been fading the Chargers every week because, as I've been saying, this hasn't been the real Chargers. Injuries to key positions everywhere, but it appears they are getting healthier at some of those positions. Mike Williams, 2 offensive linemen might return this week. All key pieces that could help Justin Herbert torch this Dolphins defense. And why shouldn't he? Miami 23rd in pass defense DVOA, 25th in pass defense success rate. If LA can open up the passing game, just let Justin Herbert rip it. This is a very different team than the one we've seen for most of this season. So I think it's a great spot to hop back on the Chargers as home dogs, north of a field goal, which is just such a stupid line. So yeah, this is an amazing spot.
Are we worried about that, Mo? That we're getting the hook in the contest 3.5, where I'm seeing 3s in real life. Are we worried that this might kill our gusto a little bit?
I would say my main concern, honestly, in this game is the fact that this is one of those probably high variance shootouts where the points might not matter. So if you're betting this game, I would definitely recommend a heavy dose of money bet line because I think that's the better play here. But yeah, very, very happy to get 3.5 still in the contest. And I think this line's kind of dumb too. I mean, it's just the Chargers have a better roster than the Dolphins.
Coaching matters, though. And something Staley might be a hack, and something McDaniel is proving thus far by making Tua an elite quarterback in performance that McDaniel might be, just slotted in as one of the top 5 coaches in this league. DP, pile on. Our Chargers love. Go, Chargers. Go.
I mean, it really is all about this Chargers passing offense, largely on Justin Herbert against this Miami defense. I mean, we see it all the time. Now, I say that, and, we're going to get 2 turnovers. Probably one's going to be run back for a touchdown because the Dolphins defense is just never going to regress, and that's just how it is for forever in time. But yeah, I think last week, you saw with this Dolphins offense, they went up against a good defense who got some pressure on them. I want to say that the Chargers can get some pressure. I know they really haven't been, but I think they do have the tools to get there. And then if you just give Tua a little bit of trouble, I don't think he's the Tua that we've seen be, super good over the course of the season. But it's mostly on Justin Herbert and the offense. Just let him throw, move the rock. Even if you're throwing to Eckler, let's go, because that guy can move the ball with you as well. But just don't plunge, because just throw against this team. They got nothing. They got nothing on defense.
I was going to say,
I hope Tua...
Sorry, I was going to say, has Justin Herbert had this game circled, but they actually did play each other that rookie year.
You know what's funny? I think Tua has this game circled because there's so much love heaped on Herbert and so many questions levied at Tua as to what I just said. Is it him or is it McDaniel? To the point where I kind of hope Tua goes into this game and tries to do too much. Right? He doesn't stay in the system. He doesn't execute the offense as intended. And he tries to go out in his first big primetime game, not a sleepy spot against the Steelers, and try to go out and let it rip. And I hope, fingers crossed for us, it leads to some mistakes that this Chargers defense can take advantage of. So the card, all consensus picks from the collective, Chargers plus 3.5 at home. Cardinals plus 1.5 at home. Ravens plus 2.5 on the road. Bucks plus 3.5 on the road. And Texans plus 17.5 on the road. All dogs, all day. There's one more consensus pick that I would feel bad if we did not discuss. Seems too obvious. Seems very obvious that the Jets are the right side. Bills were minus 13 in MetLife a few weeks ago. The Jets had an idiot at quarterback and still found a way to win the game outright. Mostly because Josh Allen had 2 back-breaking interceptions in the game, but that can be somewhat predictive with how Josh Allen has played this year and also with how good this Jets secondary is. The market is telling me I'm an idiot, though, because it just moved to 10. So what the hell's going on here? We got some mud butt. The flu is going through the Jets locker room. We have a right tackle change because, prayers up. Max Mitchell was discovered he had blood clots, so George Fant is going to jump in at the right tackle position. They're saying it's not going to be a long-term injury. I don't know what that means. I know Chris Bosh has never dribbled a basketball again. So I'm hoping that this is a different sort of blood clot and Max Mitchell is okay. But yeah, Brett, I have to turn to you. I put it in Discord, patreon.com/gridirongamble. I thought this was an auto bet, and I think with dogs in pro football, you should always sprinkle probably a third of your unit on money line when you bet some of these dogs that are above 3. I thought those were no-brainers, and the market is telling me I'm a complete moron.
I know, it's such a funny spot, right? Like you said, we've been saying all week in the Discord, like, how are the Jets at 9.5? That feels too high. And I did put money on the Jets at that number, thinking the market would support New York and move this lower, and then the opposite happened, and now it's 10. So now I have more money on the Jets because I still feel like this team's not being given the respect it deserves. I thought maybe given the short number in Minnesota last week, the market was finally adjusting to the Jets. But now what we're seeing with the movement on the Lions and Vikings game this week,
yeah, they just hate
the Vikings. It had nothing to do with the Jets at all. This is a good football team, though. I do have some concerns. Well, I have one concern, and it's Mike White, because it is more tape on this guy's surfaces. Good defensive coordinators are going to notice areas of weakness, and there's quite a bit of bad tape on him last week. Like, Mike White was not good last week. He threw for 1,000,000 yards. He was not good last week.
What?
He was.
His line really let him down, though. I mean, he did not have any protection.
He had a couple of
12 drop passes. What are you talking about?
A lot of drops. His really, the only big miss was the Garrett Wilson. I mean, Berrios drops a touchdown. He's sharp as the devils to take that quarterback sneak and bail out to the C gap and get into the end zone. Thank God for Skycam. So I think the biggest correctable thing from the first matchup is the Bills not blowing their nether regions to smithereens against the Jets defense, and having tape on the Jets defense that they can improve upon. But at the same time, I think what the Jets can do against a Bills secondary that's kind of shaky, I think they're going to spread it out. I think they're going to go air raid in some of these spots and make the Bills cover, because they don't have to worry about the pass rush as much with no Von Miller. And Mike White can make quick decisions. He can make quick throws. I think this is the Elijah Moore game. I think Elijah gets into the slot and absolutely eats against the Bills. But then again, the market's telling me I'm an idiot. So this might be a rout in favor of Buffalo.
But Buffalo hasn't been routing people like that anymore, and they haven't been playing offense like that. Dude, they gave James Cook 1,000,000 touches last week. I don't know. Maybe they're concerned about Josh Allen, too. Maybe they don't want him to throw 40 times a game. It's not what's been happening. So, really, the only consistent offense they really had against the Patriots was every third down went to Diggs. But, I mean, we know what he's going to be facing against New York. So,
well, if they're smart, they put
not going to be free first downs. Not saying he's just going to get shut down, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. They'll do what Minnesota does if they're smart and keep Diggs inside or keep him on the left side, because the Jets do what they do. They are very much the Seattle Seahawks of the early 2010s. They have their cover 3 scheme. Their guys stand in their positions, and they're not going to move anybody. So it's going to be a big effort from DJ Reed to probably cover Diggs in this game. But 45 yards for Justin Jefferson last week. So the team is going to try their damnedest. Feeling good, guys. 5 consensus picks on the card. All dogs. 2 home dogs. Let's go 4-1. Let's go. I'm not going to be greedy and ask for the 5. Follow these guys on Twitter at Donnie_Peters, at Brett Collson, COLLSON, and at Nuwwarah, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. We'll be back to recap all the action on Sunday night. Until then, enjoy the football. Peace.